Hi everyone and welcome to This Made My Week, a show dedicated to good news and inspiring stories. Let's get started. This week my husband and I, we watched a movie that completely took over my state, my emotions, my thoughts, my whole being. I could not leave it for a very long time and it kept coming back to me, and it's Everything Everywhere All at Once. If you haven't seen it, I almost envy you so that you get to experience it for the very first time, but I could not recommend it enough. It is such a rich movie. I want to see it again and again and again because there are so many layers and so many details, so many metaphors. But I think in order to see it, you have to be in a certain state, so be ready for a ride. I don't want to spoil it for you, but basically it's about a woman who owns cleaning company together with her family, and it's a movie about relationships, about her relationship with her father, with her husband, with her daughter, with herself. I think she reaches a rock bottom in that movie, and then basically what happens after. It's fantasy, so again, be ready, but oh my goodness, it is one of those movies that really stay with you. This movie actually reminded me of my rock bottom, so in this video I wanted to share some pearls of wisdom that I discovered for myself, and hopefully they will be helpful for you as well. Before we start, I wanted to say that I don't consider myself to be awakened in any kind of way. I face my stupidity every single day. But this experience and this period of my life really did something to me. It changed me on a cellular level, and I do see my life before my rock bottom and after my rock bottom. So this is how it started. In 2018, my husband and I, we spent a year in Canada. It was a dream come true. We always wanted to live there for a little while and see the country, so we got a visa for a year. And it was one of the best years of my life. We both loved it. We lived in Calgary, right next to Rocky Mountains, and the nature, we loved it. And we loved it so much that we wanted to extend our visa and stay there for longer. Unfortunately, we couldn't, so we had to come back home to my home country, Lithuania. And at that time, for me, that was nothing worse. Nothing worse could happen but moving back to Lithuania. I did everything and anything to run away from it. Before that, I lived in France, south of France in Cannes, and before that, for 6 years, I lived in the UK, London. So coming back to Lithuania was just terrible. Also, we had to move in with my parents because we had no money, no savings, no plan. We had no idea what's gonna happen next, and it was just, you know, the perfect storm. And being with my parents, that really triggered a lot of stuff. So basically this was the trigger, all of these events. What happened inside, that's a different story, you know, all my traumas that came to the surface, all of my beliefs, all of my fears, all of my conditioning, all of my limitations, that was brought to the surface. So for about 3 or so months, maybe longer, I kept resisting it, my sadness and my fear. And then I got sick in February, and I was sick for the whole month, and there was nothing specific. I just had high fever and pretty much no other symptoms. I now understand that it was totally psychosomatic. This illness, what it did, it stopped me from resisting. I completely surrendered to my feelings and to what is. I hated the situation. I was so sad, and for once in my life, I stopped fixing. I stopped trying, and I allowed myself to be. And this permission to be sad, to be angry came with no expectation, with no limits, with no agenda. I was just sad. That's it. So I cried and I cried and I cried more, and stuff kept coming and coming and coming, and I kept learning, and the more I cried, the better it felt, until one day it was spring and I was like, maybe things can get better. Then the pandemic started, but that's a whole different story. So we got stuck for even longer at my parents' place, but at that point, when like the pandemic really got bad in March and April, I was already a different human being. Okay, so what did I learn? I have my laptop here because I have some notes. And the first and one of the most important things, I realized that unprocessed emotions turn into unconscious action. So without knowing it, before I allowed myself to feel my feelings, really stay with them and actually process them physically with my whole body, I was in the doing and my actions were so unconscious. I was so unaware about what I was trying to do, which was to create safety for myself by any means necessary, even though I was totally safe, but in my mind, in my unconscious mind and in my body, I felt unsafe because of my childhood experiences. So now that I processed those emotions, there was nothing left for me to resist. It is what it is. When I accepted that, I became so conscious of what is happening in me, why it is happening. So now I have a choice. How do I respond to emotions that come to the surface? Now I have the choice because I did the integration. Right here, I want to insert a video of a father who explains perfectly how emotions work. Check this out.
Emotions are like farts. This is the best way I've heard to explain emotions to my kids. It's funny, so it's memorable, and it's also true. Here it is. Emotions are like farts. It hurts when you hold them in. Some can clear the room, and sometimes they're silent, and if you let them out too aggressively, sometimes you can make a mess. But whatever form they take, they're natural, and you need to let them out. I'll be happy with my parenting legacy if my kids go through their lives with my voice in their heads, maybe rolling their eyes, maybe smiling, hearing me remind them that emotions are like farts.
The second thing that I learned is that nothing matters. Nothing. There is no plan, there is no agenda, there is no man on the cloud who judges us and orchestrates everything. There is no force that would measure good and bad and would keep the score. Nothing matters. We're here on this spinning rock in the vast space, in this vacuum. But I get to choose my own meaning. I get to orchestrate my life the way I want, and I get to choose what is important to me. So I became the conductor of my own life. This is, when I understood that, that's when the fun started. Fun and deep and rich and purposeful and intentional and loving and relational together with other people. This is when my life became truly rich and meaningful. The third thing that I understood really deeply, which kind of echoes to what I already said when talking about feelings, is that I cannot resist the reality. I cannot. It is what it is. And now I really get it. Once I sat with it long enough, I get it. I can't change some things. They are what they are. I can just learn to accept them. And when I do, that is exactly when I start co-creating together with life, and we dance together. I learn how to be strong and stand and persevere, and I also learn how to be a little bit like water, or be really flexible, like a tree, be really rooted in my ground, but move together with winds of change and bend when or how I need to in that moment. I can't resist. It is what it is. One of the beautiful things that happened was that I became so chill and calm. And yes, there are absolutely things that upset me, that cause me, to get emotional and that activate me. But generally speaking, Like under the surface, I am so calm and I'm so trusting and I'm so not bothered by the small stuff anymore. And when I tell you that the amount of energy that I gain from it, because I'm not worrying about every single detail all the time, I have the capacity, the mental space, the physical energy to pursue the things that are actually important to me, that matter to me, that I care about. Like, oh my gosh, this integration of this energy that was boiling in me 24/7, life-changing. True joy comes from wholeness. And what I mean by that is we aren't here to feel good. No, we come to this earth to learn how to feel it all, how to become good at feeling. That's the whole point. It's not about happiness, joy, and butterflies. That's just one side of the coin. And the other side of the coin is despair and sadness and fear and anger and all of these uncomfortable, bad, so-called bad emotions. This is what brings us to our wholeness. This is what allows us to deepen, to really understand the depth of us and our whole selves. We're not here to feel good. We're here to become good at feeling. Building up on that, I started to allow myself to be as I am in this moment. Not how I think I should be, not how I feel that others want me to be in that moment. If someone is being rude, I tell them, like, I don't like this behavior. So I allow myself to feel what I feel, to think what I think, and not change it. I'm no longer trying to become a good girl. I'm a grown woman and I can do whatever I want. So I do. This leads me to the next point, and this is the line that I always say to my clients. I'm a life coach and I help people to reconnect to their authenticity. And in other words, I help people to reconnect with the present moment, because to be authentic means to be present. Your mind might want you to take you to the future, to the past, to your agendas, to some ideas that you created before about how you should be, how you should look like, how your Instagram should look like, what music you should like, what clothes you should wear, what people you should hang out with. All of this stuff, these are rules that have nothing to do with your true authenticity. You are the most authentic when you are present. And to be present, you need to be connected to your heart, to your body, and to your mind a little bit, but mostly to your body and to your heart. Another huge thing for me was realizing that I can live 100 lives in one lifetime. You see, I was so attached to this idea how my life should look like, and it's like, for most people, you get married, you have a child, you have a house, you live comfortably and safely somewhere, you travel a little bit, you keep building on your career, and maybe you pursue some hobbies or some passions, and that's all. Well, I was so attached to it, I could not experience the joy that my current life brought to me. I lived already such a wild life, like, oh my goodness, 6 years in London, UK, one of the greatest cities in the world. I lived in Cannes, south of France, by the beach, not too far, like 10-minute walk away from the beach. Like, oh, I lived in Canada by the Rockies, and I was in my mountain climber era. Lithuanian also. I live in my native country right now. I'm very kind of my father's and my mother's daughter right now. I have a very close relationship together with them, so there's bond. I'm a mother right now. I'm a YouTuber right now, a creator. You see, I can have tens, hundreds of lives in one lifetime. This attachment to only one plan, poof, it's gone. Speaking about relationships, I understood so deeply that I cannot have deep, meaningful relationships with everybody all the time. Well, not with everybody that I want all the time. Like my parents, we cannot be on the same level. On their side, there's too much conditioning, they're too much in their programming, they're too much in their own limitations in their life. Like we can't talk about what we're talking about right now, and I'm fine with that. It's okay. But I can have beautiful moments together with them. They're like small glimpses here and there, but we connect and we see one another, and I can fully enjoy it right now. I can enjoy it, I can treasure it, I can stay with it, like I can expand it in my mind and in my body, like savor it. I can savor it right now. And that is so much more than what I used to feel before that, before this experience, when all I wanted to do was change them and to prove them that they're wrong, they're not right, what they did to me, and anyways. I love our relationship right now. It's not perfect, but it's real. It is what it is. With that being said, another point about relationships is that my worth disappears when I'm alone. I understood that this life is all about relationships. Who cares if I'm the wisest person, if I'm the most awakened? Who cares if I have no one to share it with, or there are no people who I can do good for, or there are no people whom I can hug and share these sacred moments with? Who cares? Not only this life is not meaningful without other people, but relationships are the path to knowing yourself. All of these things I could have never ever learned by myself. Never. I needed to be with my parents, with my husband, in this great storm and this great misery that I experienced back then for me to learn all of these things. I am nothing without other people. So right now, my relationships, they're good. They're good. And unfortunately, most of my friends, they don't live in Lithuania, they live abroad. So there aren't many people physically here with me. But when we meet, it's good. I love them and I love deeply. And just like with my parents, I allow myself to enjoy these moments, to savor them, to when I hug people, I hug them like I mean it. I speak and I say I love you freely. I show them my affection, my care for them. My relationships are like never before. Last but not least, I wanted to say that I learned how to trust life. Now, I'm not religious, I'm not spiritual, maybe a little bit, but not really. I don't believe in manifestation, I don't believe in this universe, whatever. That's not what this video is about, it's a different subject. But I learned how to trust life and life's force. There is something that I respect, there is something I admire, there is something that I'm in a relationship with, and this clip perfectly shows this. Check this out. Today, I cannot express to you how much I love life and how much I love living. I'm just happy to be here. And I love everything. I want to experience, feel, see everything. I want to be everywhere. I want everything everywhere all at once. No, like seriously, I'm so excited about blue skies. I love smelling flowers. I love my coffee in the morning. I love every single person that passes me by. Maybe not all the time because they can piss me off very often, but like generally speaking, I love every single human being. I love nature more like never before. I'm grateful that I get to do this. I can play with my creativity. I can talk. I'm free. I am so happy. I'm connected to my joy every single day. I'm in love with life. I'm in love, love. I'm in love with life. That's where I'm at. Now that you know how much I love people, I wanted to share this Instagram account and specifically this video. So this lady, she lives in Paris and she films people doing regular things that people do. And she's also a writer. She released a few books called How Not to Be a Tourist in Paris and in London. Check her out. Her handle is right here. She is incredible. All her videos are amazing. And this one I loved in particular. I don't know why. It's women carrying things in their hands. Check it out.
Women holding things. What do women hold? The home and the family and the children and the food, the friendships, the work of the world and the work of being human, the memories and the troubles and the sorrows, and the triumphs and the love. Men do as well, but not quite in the same way. Sometimes, when I'm feeling particularly happy or content, I think I can provide sustenance for legions of human beings. I can hold the entire world in my arms. Other times, I can barely cross the room, and I drop my arms, frozen. There is never an end to holding, and certainly there is often the feeling of never doing enough. And then there is the next day, and the next day, and one holds on.
Another thing that I really wanted to mention was that we went to the zoo this weekend. We saw lions, and there were two of them, and they started growling at one another. I've heard a lion growling before, but just really briefly, just for a short sound. But these two, oh my gosh, they were really going at one another. And the sound, oh, it really like did something to my body in a very primal way. I was just activated, you know, I was like, oh my gosh. I love it. I'm gonna insert the video. Okay, that's all. This is where I'm gonna end this video today. I think I've shared enough of personal stuff. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for watching these videos. Thank you for being a part of my journey. I appreciate you so, so much. You have no idea. I really, really do. Leave me a comment how you felt watching this video, or if you have any observations. I'd love to hear from you. Also, send me an email with your good news, anything that happened recently that made your day, made your week, and I'm gonna share them on this channel. As always, come back next Wednesday for more. I'll see you then. Bye.